Pokemon's post-game is a series of mini raid battles and a quick tour around Galar, and while it isn't much, I loved it. I can't say that I would have loved it if I had played it right away after finishing the main story, as I was already pretty annoyed with the ending bits of Sword and Shield. But I think that my time away from the game helped me appreciate what they did here all the more. This venture started off as a casual playthrough with no intentions of making a video on it until midway through the post-game, where I randomly messaged Remedy G of X and Y Gaming praising how much I love this mini story's antagonist. I quickly went, well, I guess I gotta record game footage now. But I had already saved some of the way through, and so there was no going back to the start of the quest line, so this is why what you see is what you get. But anyway, all of this is to say that this isn't the player's story, it's Hop's. The game did a good job of setting up this easy enough quest line for the player and Hop to end up with the box legendaries, and thematically, I like it. I also like that this is how Hop finds his place in the world after being full of doubt with the prior events of the League, or whatever they call it in this game. But my hype for this was what they were doing with these two nitwits, Swordo and Gilberto, the true kings of Galar. And yes, they look ridiculous, but that's the point. These two are so arrogant and flamboyant, bright red and blue suits, and a sword and shield haircut. It's absurd, but that's who they are. The two believe that they're the true heirs to the Galar royalty. It was presented in such a tongue-in-cheek way that it's like they're saying,
no? Those ridiculous beasts are not royalty. We are. See? Look at us.
I'm red and I have a shield, so give me the rusted shield.
And I'm blue with the sword haircut, so give me the rusted sword.
Besides, we're popular, so a do and a do.
This is pointed out by them recognizing Sonia as the author of a Galar history book, saying,
we gave it a 1-star rating because that history is rubbish. You didn't mention us anywhere in it. We're celebrities.
Even their laughing animations filled me with joy. The way they squirm like worms when laughing, they're pompous, they're eccentric, they're cartoony as hell. And this is why I love them. At the Milo Gym, when they show up behind the booth squirming with laughter.
Oh brother, it looks like our experiments worked.
Why yes brother, it sure did.
It's silly, and they're not to be taken seriously, especially now that the main character defeated Leon. They were never supposed to be a real threat. Otherwise, they would have been presented much more seriously and look much more serious than their haircuts imply. This is why it works. It's essentially a side story as to how Hop got his groove back, how Hop found his place in the world. Sonia, Marnie, and the player all found their places, but Hop was still lost. His goal was to defeat Leon and be the champion himself. But I took that away from him, and he's never been able to beat me. Hell, even Bede found his place as the fairy-type gym leader. They even set it up perfectly with Sonia having her own assistant that betrays her working for these two, so now she needs an assistant to fill the role. So that's when Hop decides that he wants to be a professor, and there was already a place for him to start with Sonia. They also did a good job of keeping Leon out of the picture until the end. After all, this is Hop's story, and the player is just there to follow along as his witness and his best friend. Lee couldn't be in it, otherwise he would be influencing Hop's decision as someone who wants to guide their younger brother and look out for them. This is also why the player gets the rusted sword back and Hop doesn't. The player is already done. He's completed his journey. Hop hasn't. Hop losing the shield to Gilberto is a setup for this little arc they were telling. Again, this isn't the player's story, it was Hop's. Oh, and when all is said and done, these two, they apologize for being arrogant and dilly-dally off into the woods with Pierre on the chase. It was wonderful, simply light-hearted fun. And isn't that what we all need right now? Some sense of joy and escapism while the world falls apart. This is why I wish that Pokemon Sword and Shield would have sequel stories the way that Black and White did. I would love to see a Galar with Hop and Sonia giving you your first Pokemon, Leon as president or prime minister of Galar, Marnie as the gym leader and how she would influence the development of her town, and of course, Bede. I want to see where Bede goes, because he's so pink now. Well, he's always been pink, but now he's a fairy type gym leader, because he's pink. I look forward to playing the DLC to be released, though it's clear that these DLC stories are going to be their own bottled stories. But I really hope that this isn't where the story of Galar ends. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because this isn't the first Pokemon video that I've made. I also have an Esper video of how he was named, and I'm really proud of it, as well as a video on how the Pokemon starters got their names that I recommend checking out if you feel inclined. Hit the notification bell so you know when I upload, and we'll continue to pink it up in the next one. Bye, ciao. You guys thought that it was gonna be a Pokemon pun, but